Why would you want to go
Alabama's
to
about to rank
Georgia?
number 1, right?
Who?
Alabama.
They're about to, yeah, because Houston just lost. They are about to be number one.
That number 1 sounds more like an everything school to me than
Have you seen that
the
baseball program? Do you know who we
number
just
8.
pulled from
What
their
is
baseball
Tennessee
program?
right
Zane
now?
Denton, the best player on Alabama this past year. He is now a Tennessee Volunteer and will be playing baseball for the Vols. The preseason number 2 team in the country, McClain. Just everything school HQ.
We shall see.
Walker Howard. So this is my favorite just chaos part. Getting back to some news items before we get into this. Walker Howard, premier prospect, 4 or 5 stars, depending on who you look at. Because that's annoying, by the way, too, right? Like everyone just flips this based on whether or not it helps or hurts your school. Like whenever you have these conversations or I see it on Twitter, it's always like if a team's report, like a team blog's reporting it, the player's a 5-star and they're going with the one who has them that way. And then if it's another one, it's like a 4-star. It's very hard to keep up with because everyone's using their own rankings. And if it's an On3 site, they're using their On3 rankings. If it's a 247 site, they're using 247. But
I feel like because there's, just to defend that, because there's like 354 stars, even if you're writing a 24/7 article and ESPN has this guy as a 5-star, it's like, it kind of does distinguish him a little bit that, hey, somebody thinks he's a 5-star. I do like that On3's come out with the 5-star plus or whatever. I think it's a stupid name, but like unanimous consensus 5-star essentially is what it's for. So right. I do like that. It kind of separates those guys.
For sure. Well, like I said, Walker Howard, premier LSU product, freshman. He entered the portal and then he transferred, McClain, to Ole Miss, which I think caught a lot of people by surprise because Ole Miss has a quarterback who can be their quarterback for this season, and another one, Jaxson Dart, who started all this past year. Luke Altmaier went in the portal, and he is now going to be the starter in Champaign for the Fighting Illini. But that wasn't all they did. They also added Spencer Sanders in the portal, McClain. I think there's not going to be a more fascinating spring than what's going on at Ole Miss. Like that is top-notch stuff. I don't know why Spencer Sanders left under these circumstances because I don't think he's the favorite to start, and he's probably I don't know. Like I think this is all extremely strange. Clearly, like Lane is not all the way sold on what he saw from Jaxson Dart this past year, but I don't know. What do you make of Howard coming in the building and Spencer Sanders with Jaxson Dart this spring?
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and I think it's definitely surprising because Jaxson Dart was solid, but I agree. I wasn't sold on him necessarily. So he left some room to be desired, right? But Spencer Sanders coming in, though, you would think a guy who's, I assume, only has 1 year, but I mean, who really knows with COVID and guys getting extra years and stuff. But he seems like a guy who just has one last shot to elevate his game. And like, I mean, Oklahoma State is still a good team. I would think. I wouldn't think they're just falling off the face of a cliff, even though they kind of did last season. So it was kind of weird to see him be transferring from the get-go. But to go to Ole Miss, somewhere where it's not really a guaranteed spot, like JT Daniels going to like a West Virginia, somewhere he knew he was going to start, and then obviously that didn't work out, and he went down a level somewhere he knew he was going to start again. Like, this isn't what that is. So with Spencer Sanders, like with Walker Howard, it's like, okay, maybe you just like, okay, I don't want to be at LSU. I'm going somewhere else. With Spencer Sanders, seems like his one shot to play. So I do think he's better than Jaxson Dart. If like I'm just taking what these guys did in 2022, I'm taking Spencer Sanders over Jaxson Dart. Especially since they're kind of similar players. Spencer Sanders seems like just a better version of Jaxson Dart. So how many more years I guess, Sanders could come in and Jaxson Dart still has a year or two to start after that. That's probably not what's going to happen just in today's landscape. If he loses that job, he's probably going to go transfer somewhere else. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. And then, maybe Ole Miss is set up even better with like a senior and a sophomore or redshirt freshman, setting up that 2023 roster.
Yeah, and it looks like Alan Bowman's going to be the starting quarterback at Oklahoma State next year. Like he entered the portal and he was number 3 on the depth chart at Michigan this past year. He obviously started as a freshman at Texas Tech, but it's been a long time since Alan Bowman's been able to both stay healthy and be a really good player in the sport. But he's back to the Big 12. Maybe that'll help a little bit for him. But I don't know, that quarterback room, and Oklahoma State's lost a lot of players in the portal, so I think they need to be pretty active, especially post spring ball for Gundy's group. But yeah, I don't know. My gut tells me, because Spencer Sanders went there, I think he beats out Jaxson Dart in the spring. I think he wins the job, and Dart might be elsewhere by post spring. Like, he might be in the portal, and then it's just Walker Howard after Spencer Sanders does 1 year in Oxford this fall. That's my gut. I think Spencer Sanders has shown a lot more than Jaxson Dart to this point.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And so, we'll see what happens. I think Ole Miss definitely shouldn't look at their 2022 season and say, okay, let's let
We
this
have our
group
guy.
improve. Yeah, it's like they got a lot to improve on. And I mean, the running game was great. So, I mean, you got to think a better quarterback, who actual passer, could definitely take that offense to the next level.
Jalen Rashada, he is now out of his national letter of intent from the University of Florida. This is